Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, host of the program and owner-broker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, we're hearing a lot in the news about the government trying to make improvements to the housing market. What are your thoughts on why a home may not be selling in the current market conditions?
Well, Richard, we're having more and more of that lately. The average days on market keeps creeping up every single month, 90 days, 100 days. We're up to 126 average days on market. And that average number, that data point, is not based on all the homes. It's based on only the homes that are getting contracts. The ones that are not, guess what? They're still sitting there. So it's getting longer and longer. But in general, if a house is not selling, there has to be a point of reality check where you go, all right, is it preparation? Is it pricing? Is it promotion? Is it the agent? It could be any one of those things. So preparation, if your home is priced well below market, it's okay to sell it as is. It does say in the contract, the home is sold as is, where is, with all its faults, right? But almost every buyer will say that, yeah. They'll get a contract, they'll do an inspection, and they're going to ask for stuff. Okay. There are a few exceptions to that, like if there's multiple offers, or if the seller's like, I'm strictly as is. There's no joke about that. So most buyers don't want to buy a home that needs work, right? They're getting in with all they have in their budget. And so now all of a sudden they have to turn around and put in new carpet. I looked at one home last weekend. It was a beautiful floor plan, but it was just the carpet. All they had to do was spend a few $1,000s and replace the carpet. That thing would have been gone. But instead, the buyers saw work and they decided not to make an offer on that one. So how can you really tell if a home is priced too high? Well, there's kind of some rule of thumbs that I go by, and we'll go into the detail of that. But I just want to first tell you a story about my showing experience working with a buyer over the past weekend. We looked at least 30 homes in a really good price range where I was expecting to see something nice. And unfortunately, it didn't happen. All these homes were empty, all appeared to be overpriced. Many of them had easy fixable issues: the stinky house, the sloppy finishes, the backsplash without edging, poor presentation, nice home, but then they get these Glade plugins and just overwhelm the home with this just strong, stinky smell that actually some people are allergic to. Don't do that. That tells the buyer that you're covering up something that does stink. And also, we were showing in the snow. Very few people removed the snow. Finally, day 2, I brought a shovel with me, and the buyer helped me clear a path to go look at these homes. All of them were vacant. That was between 450 and 700,000. Every single one of them was vacant. So that's a clue, right? You've got these prices, they're sitting there with these high prices. They're not moving. They're vacant, which gets very expensive and risky, right? Something's got to give. So I just felt like, the market's kind of at this precipice of the prices are probably going to drop a little bit more. And, what makes a buyer fall in love? So generally, a buyer is going to fall in love if they just have to have it, right? It's not if it's just okay. And it's probably not if they're thinking they're going to have to put a lot of money in it to make it the home for them. I've had people tell me they bought homes that were posted on Facebook because it had something special about it. It might not have been in good condition, but it was a good price on big acreage. Last weekend, I had over I think it was 8 offers on one of my listings because the seller chose to price it right and just get the basic stuff taken care of: carpet, paint, fix the obvious broken things. And generally, if you price a home below similar sales right now, I feel like the buyers are going to come. But if you hold on to this artificially high number, it may not work. Now, a lot of people think that Zillow is the one that determines what the home is worth, but I'm here to tell you that the owner of Zillow missed his home value by $500,000. His estimate was 1.5 million in Seattle. It sold for 1 million. Why is that? Because they're averaging the homes that are not selling as a price, right? If they're not selling, they're overpriced. It's just that simple. And then, telling buyers, I don't know. So what Zillow does, they became a billion-dollar company on top of the real estate industry by consuming the information from the MLS data, really creating a better mousetrap for the buyers to search homes on. So they beat us in that category, right? And now they have 64% of the buyer's eyes in any given market in the country. And so what they do with the buyer's eyes is they put a little green button in there. It says you want to schedule a viewing of this home, click this green button right here. Everybody thinks when they click the green button, they're going to get the listing agent, but that's just not true. You're going to get some random agent that's paying for leads on Zillow. That's how Zillow became a billion-dollar company. They've never seen the home. They don't know anything about the home. And they are not going to verify that the buyer can buy the home. If that agent doesn't meet the buyer at the house, the buyer's going to go find somebody else who will. That's how it works. So they only want the agent to open the door for them, and then they might be interested, or they might not be. So I think we are kind of approaching another little slight correction in the market. That was just my feeling. Look at all these homes empty, sitting on the market. They were okay, but they didn't excite anybody. Something's going to have to give. And even in the springtime, we're going to see that happen, even with the rates slowly, gradually dropping now. And this is my advice for sellers. You only get one shot with the buyer. The first shot is online. That is on hiring the right agent that presents the home properly. Okay. Then if the buyer comes in the house, you still have to impress them. So if within 30 days, you're not getting offers, something's wrong. The best feedback on showings is an offer. I mean, other feedback is just constructive. Well, the carpet's dirty, or the house was stinky, or whatever it was. But in general, you only get one shot to make an impression, and you have to do that really, really well, hopefully within the first 30 days, or make an adjustment if it doesn't work. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show. And we're talking about how do you tell if your asking price is too high. And when we come back, we're going to talk about how to tell about that and what to do about it. If you are thinking of making a move, give us a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
So, Barb, we're discussing the how of how to tell if the asking price on a home is simply too high. What are some of the things that home sellers should do to solve that issue of a home not selling?
Well, I mean, a majority of the home sellers that I speak to want the most money, which is understandable, okay? But many of them also want to sell it for a fair price. And they don't want to give away their alleged equity. The problem is, what is the equity? I feel like Zillow is leading them down the path with their fake Zestimates, making them think that it's worth more than it actually is. But the market's going to speak to you within probably a week or two, whether or not you nailed the price. So how do you set the price and create demand? Most agents will look at what they call comparable sales. So that's theoretically with an appraiser, that's comparing apples to apples. But what is the purpose of an appraiser? Purpose of an appraiser is to substantiate that historic sales sold to verify with the lender it's worth the contract price and that the home meets the loan guidelines. So similar sales really are just for the appraisal, okay? Especially when a market is correcting. So the best strategy is to price it even more aggressively when the market is correcting. Now, I would look at, for me, a better benchmark is what what is your current competition, and more especially which homes are going under contract and why, and how they compare to your house. You have to take all these factors into consideration. What are the market conditions? What's the motivation of the seller? I've met with sellers that are like, I don't want anybody coming through my house. I just want to sell it as is and really fast. Do you have any buyers in your back pocket? Which we do. So it really depends on the motivation of the seller. But I think a lot of people out there are kind of getting bad advice. So the market's going to tell you almost immediately if you missed the mark. Are you getting plenty of showings? If you're getting at least 6 showings a week, you're on target. Or if you're getting more than that, that's a really good sign. There's some other benchmarks I look at, like the ratio of Zillow views to saves. But it's always good to price the home, what I call realistically versus optimistically. And if your house is not selling, you got to make an adjustment to get the buyers to bite. And you can tell, if you're getting no showings, we're way off. If you're getting just onesies, twosies, we're also way off. If you're getting showings here and there, but no offers, we're still off, right? And if you're getting maybe lowball offers, you're a little bit off. And if you're getting offers, you're right there, stay there. It's just a matter of time where you get the right buyer. And here's the thing. The problem is, in the real estate industry, everybody assumes if you've got a license for more than a year, the agent's an expert. But the problem is there's an 87% turnover in real estate agents every 5 years. So if you look back 5 years ago, the market was booming. All you had to do was open a door and ask for 3%, and you're doing great, right? Not the case anymore. It's a little bit tougher when the market's correcting. And even the buyer's agents don't understand what to do, because they're thinking, okay, I'm going to come in with this crazy lowball offer and ask for closing costs and maximize my commission, and I'm going to get fries with that too. It doesn't work that way. So the sellers are very resistant to play. Some of them won't even counter at all. So most agents aren't really trained or haven't had the experience to deal with a correcting market. That's why what we saw in 2024, 71% of agents sold no homes, right? So there's a problem. And there's this weird assumption about whether or not the home is priced right. The market's going to leave clues very quickly. If it sits on the market, it could be stale. If you're seeing comparable homes sell faster that are in your neighborhood, it could be price, it could be condition, it could be upgrades. It's all these different things. We have about half of the home sellers lowering their price. I just presented an offer to a home seller just a few weeks ago, and it was a fixer-upper, but that's what the buyer wanted. However, their asking price was full-on market value, as if it was remodeled. And when the buyer came in with a lower than that offer, and he was willing to pay it. I wouldn't have bought that home, but anyways, he's willing to pay it. And the agent came back and said, no, we have comps, we have an appraisal, right? So they got some appraiser to give an opinion of value, but not very often do I see appraisers make offers based on their opinion of value, right? They're not buying the house, right? They're just, I don't know. It was shocking to me. And so that was a month ago, and that house is still sitting on the market. So if you're thinking of making a move, you really want somebody that's actively selling in this market. Otherwise, they don't know what's going on. They're just guessing, and that's where mistakes can happen. So give us a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice. That's Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. She should be your real estate voice. And if you're thinking of making a move, call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll be discussing the how and why to change real estate agents when the sale is just not working here in Colorado. Barb will tell us about that.